Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we have another versus battle. The heavy thrusting swords versus the great spears. Reason we are comparing these is because both are poking, piercing type weapons that do scale relatively well with strength. Both have good staggering potential as well. So we're just going to have a bunch of categories pit them up against each other and then see which one's better for which scenario. As always, please do like and subscribe and follow me on Twitch as well. Should be live by the time this video is up. And yeah, that is way. Let's get into it. Okay, starting off with variety, we have the 4 heavy thrusting swords. So being that there's not that many, it's not going to be that long of a segment. But to get started, we have the 2 that can be infused. Both have differing movesets. We have a very solid arcane option with a unique Ash of War, and we do have a very high damaging, high posture breaking Ash of War in the Dragon King's cragblade. So yeah, unfortunately, you can only get like a C tier in its variety stat. As for the great spears, the variety is obviously going to be a bit better, but still not that great because there is only 6, and only 1 can actually be infused. There are actually more heavy thrusting swords that can be infused compared to great spears. Hopefully the DLC does incorporate more. That would be very nice. But you do have stuff that has very differing movesets, and the treespear, serpent hunter have stuff that are very good projectile based. Ash of War with the Silurius tree, another faith-based option in the Vykes war spear, which is decent for PvP, which has the madness build up status effect, and you do have a very solid arcane option. So probably overall, give it about a B tier. Could be a lot better. Hopefully the DLC adds at least another great spear that can be infused. Okay, as for the movesets, as always, it's going to talk about the basic and generic moveset, not going to talk about anything that does have like a unique heavy attack or something like that. But getting into it, I probably would give both of these an S tier, despite some of them actually having shortcomings. The main shortcoming being is that they just get a bunch of poking attacks. One-handed, two-handed, power stance, it's all just a bunch of poking attacks. With the heavy thrusting swords, I like them better one-handed and two-handed because they're very, very quick, and the heavy running attacks is probably one of the best attacks in the entire game, covers so much distance, very, very fast as well. But with the power stance, I don't really like the heavy thrusting sword that much because it's a bunch of like one hit after the other instead of hitting at the exact same time, which I much prefer because obviously it's better DPS and more consistency, which is what the Great Spears does. And the Great Spear is probably one of the best, if not the best PvP moveset in the entire game. The crouching attacks are absolutely insane, come out very, very quick. The running attack, don't really like it that much, but the jumping attacks and the regular light attack combo for power stance Great Spears is absolutely amazing. So I'll probably give it a 1-to-1. I like the Great Spears better for power stance, and I like the heavy thrusting swords better one-handed and two-handed. Going over the Ash of War options, this one's pretty interesting because it feels like some should actually have certain Ashes of War and others really shouldn't. Starting off with the Great Spears, here's everything that they get that heavy thrusting swords do not. So they have all the roll-based ones. They have things like Spinning Slash, so very good Ashes of War options. But I don't know why heavy thrusting swords don't really get some of these options, like things like Waves of Darkness, Golden Land, they tend to be for heavier based weapons. I don't really know why heavy thrusting swords don't get it. Not having Ice Spear and Spectral Lance, it's kind of a blow as well to heavy thrusting swords because these are some of the best projectile-based ashes in the entire game. And Great Spears do get things like Giant Hunt and Flaming Strike as well, so it's probably going to get an S tier. As for the heavy thrusting swords, this is everything that they get that Great Spears do not, so probably not as good as options in terms of what's unique to them. They get Trolls Roar for whatever reason. I don't know why they don't get the other Roar options. Things like Barbarics will definitely benefit. Stormblade is an okay projectile option. Carrying Grandeur does do a lot of damage, but although it is pretty hard to use. It gets Eruption for whatever reason, and Great Spears don't get Eruption. Don't understand that. It gets Bloody Slash, which I don't know why it gets Bloody Slash, but it can't get Spinning Slash. I don't really know what's going on here. It still gets things like Giant Hunt and Flaming Strike, which is still decent. So I probably end up giving this one a B tier. Okay, going over the best PvE options. On screen right now is my top 10. There are only 10 options if you actually include both Great Spears and heavy thrusting swords. And that's not to say that anything at the bottom of the list is going to be bad. All of these are at least B tier options. If you want to know more of my opinions, there are my tier lists that I've made within the last week. But based on this list, I would probably lean more towards the heavy thrusting swords. I feel like they're just based better around PvE compared to the Great Spears. But obviously there are still very solid Great Spear options. If you look at the mohgywns Sacred Spear, it's an absolute boss melting machine. It's very good, solid arcane option, probably the best strength arcane option in the entire game. But things like the Bloody Helice, Godskin, etc. are just very good and reliable at PvE, very easy to use. The Dragon King cragblade, I do like it a lot. However, there is some issues with its hit detection, issues with its Ash of War, so that's the reason it's probably a bit lower on this list. And the Lance, reason that that's high because it's the only Great Spear option that can be infused, and the rest of them can't really be infused, which definitely hurts their PvE value. So yeah, if I was to give them a rating, I'd probably give the heavy thrusting swords an A tier, and probably the Great Spears probably also an A tier as well. They're both very similar. As for the best PvE options, here is my top 10. Once again, just because it's lower on the list doesn't mean that it's bad. All of these are at least a B tier, probably at least an A tier. Honestly, they're that good. Once again, here's my tier list if you want to watch them. Link down below. But yes, Great Spears are probably tend to be the better option especially Power Stance, probably some of the best weapons in the entire game. The Serpent Hunter is just amazing just by itself because the crouching attacks and the jumping heavy attacks are very nice. The entire moveset's just amazing. It just covers everything that you want it to do. The Vykes War Spear is probably like an insane option because the madness build up that procs on phantom hits, and the lance is just a very solid S tier. I did actually put it as an A tier on my tier list. Definitely regret that. It's definitely an S tier. Don't listen to what I said there. But the heavy thrusting swords are still very amazing. The heavy running attacks, probably some of the best weapons in PvP right now. But yeah, both of these are very, very solid S tier options for PvP. You can't go wrong when you pick any one of these. But if I had to pick one, I would definitely go towards the Great Spears. Okay, but that pretty much concludes it for this one, guys. Here is the final score. The Great Spears did win this one out. It's purely because there's actually more options for the Great Spears. As soon as like the DLC comes out, hopefully we get more heavy thrusting sword options. Hopefully get more options for both. But yeah, at the moment, it's going to be for the Great Spears, but they're both just amazing either way. You can't go wrong with any single option that you pick from either or. But as always, please do like and subscribe. Let me know down below what type of comparison you'd like to see next. And please do follow me on Twitch because this is where I do all my tier list and my top 10s and things like that. But yeah, that's the way. See you in the next. Bye.